Hello friends! I'm taking a little break from the mini-series that I've been working on lately because it's that time of the month where I need to paint all of my Patreon postcards. So I wanted to take you guys along this journey and then also talk about some ideas that I have for staying motivated over long periods of time. Every single month I ship out anywhere from 10 to 20 postcards, and they're all hand painted. So each month I have to come up with an interesting idea and execute it in a timely manner. So it's an amazing way that I motivate myself to keep working and exploring new ideas. And the really amazing thing is that some of my supporters have been with me from the very beginning, which is almost 5 years ago. So thank you guys so much. This month, my patrons voted, and the winning idea was something drippy and misty landscape. So I just dove right in with some of my favorite techniques, which are allowing the landscape, the pigment to flow and bleed, and then coming back in and rendering a little bit more detail on top of it with a variety of tools and techniques. So as you can imagine, not every single postcard turns out to be a masterpiece. And I actually end up recycling probably about 20 postcards every couple months. I usually just leave a stack of the rejects on my desk and remind myself that it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I can't expect every single thing I paint to be perfect, and I only want to send out the best. So it's okay that I have this reject pile, and it just motivates me to keep trying and do better. One thing I've been thinking a lot about lately is artistic stamina, and the idea that sometimes we feel super passionate and excited to do a certain project, but when we get into it, we realize, holy cow, this is going to take a lot of time and energy, and it may take months or even years depending on what the project is, and that requires a certain amount of stamina. We need to stay energized and inspired and excited about the project over several weeks or months, and that can actually be really tricky, especially when we're constantly inspired from so many different sources, and we might want to take a little break and do something else, and that something else might snowball into another big project. And I come across this all the time. I do several projects that overlap throughout the year, and occasionally something that I started out being very passionate about, it kind of falls to the wayside and something else takes over my life. And I especially notice this with my stories, with the books that I'm working on. So I get an amazing idea and I start working on it. I do the concept art and really start getting into the nitty-gritty. And then another idea comes along and I get really excited about that. So I start doing the concept art for that and start painting the pages. And I have 2 to 3 books going on at any given time. And I've already abandoned 1 or 2 ideas that at one point I thought were like gonna be my life's work. So it just goes to show you that sometimes we really just have to listen to our inner self, the little voice that's in there that's saying, this is important to me, we need to chase this idea. But that can also get exhausting. So we also need to listen to the logical side of our mind that says, this was important to you and it still is, and even though you might be excited to do something else for a while, you can't abandon this. So how do you know which is which ideas you should chase and which ones you should abandon for something better? Because we only have so much time, so we can't do everything. And I don't have all the answers, but something that I constantly think about is no matter whatever project it is, there has to be a reason. So if it's a really superficial idea, it might not have the weight that it needs to keep you going throughout the weeks or months or years. And that's not to say that some of the more superficial ideas aren't important. Like, for instance, I love painting landscapes, and sometimes it's literally just about painting a landscape. It's nothing more emotional, or there's nothing more to it except I love being in nature and I want to paint it. So that in itself has led to creating plenty of paintings that people have enjoyed, that people have bought and hang on their wall, and it brings them joy every day. So, you know, just because something doesn't have a deeper meaning doesn't mean it isn't important. However, I feel like because I only have so much time on this earth, I do want to leave behind something more, and I do have things that I want to say through my art. So for me, the fact that I've like been getting more into storytelling, and I have all these I'm out of practice. I have all these ideas for stories that to me have a deeper meaning, and I feel like other people could connect to. Those are the things that I really want to make sure I do before I run out of time. You know, not to be morbid or anything, but it is important to me. So I always need to keep that in the back of my mind. And because those long-term projects are the very tiring ones, I just have to remember that, you know, it's okay to take breaks here and there, but I do want to push myself to complete as many of those as I can. And I would honestly love to hear how you guys handle this idea of artistic stamina, working on long-term projects or several projects that overlap at one time. So I sometimes feel almost like I have two personalities, one that is very much interested in abstract fine art, and then another one that is interested in quirky, funny, emotional storytelling through picture books. And sometimes those things overlap, and I love when they do, but other times I feel like I have to turn one part of my brain off to work on the other. So that in itself can be very tiring. But, you know, I love doing both, and I just want to pursue both as much as I can, so that hopefully I'll get better at both and do a better job with creating work that I'm proud of. Oof, so this is a very rambly video, wasn't it? Sorry, guys. But I hope that you enjoyed watching my process of painting these postcards, and maybe get some ideas of your own, or at least motivation to go pick up the paint or the pencils or whatever you love to use and create something fun, something that you enjoy. Oh, before I forget, I wanted to remind you guys that the next paint along is going to be exactly 1 week from today. So it's on March 28th, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. here in the UK, here on YouTube, and we'll basically be doing what you're seeing in this video. We'll be doing expressive landscapes using mixed media. We'll start with a base material of watercolor, and then we'll work on top of that with whatever materials we have. So for instance, I'll be using ink and maybe acrylic or gouache or pencil. But we'll just talk about some of the ways we can make more expressive landscapes and not be tied down to one medium. So I'm really excited for that one because it's what I do almost every day. And now my postcards are ready to go. I had so much fun this month with these misty, expressive landscapes, and I'm so excited for my patrons to receive them. If you want one, I think there's a couple slots left to get a postcard. You can go check it out on my Patreon. And I'll also be sending out these little stickers with the postcards. Spring is here, guys. Let's embrace it. Alright, I will see you in the next video, which will probably be getting back to the expressive painting technique mini-series. I'll see you guys soon. If you made it this far into the video, you are a hero, so here is some bonus kitty footage.
Sleepy kitty. Yeah.